So the simple question that the man asked of himself, he said, what shall I do? In other words, he found himself in a precarious situation in the aspect that he was being accused of wasting goods by his superior. And he was called to give an account of the situation. And so he's scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. And I made the comment yesterday on the broadcast. I said, well, sometimes people say when something comes to them like that, they say, oh, that just came out of nowhere. Truth is, this didn't just come out of nowhere. This had been building for a long, long time because he'd been derelict in his responsibilities. He wasn't taking care of things. And as I commented yesterday, a lot of times when that happens, we want to blame shift. We want to blame somebody else. We want to find somebody else to take the fall for it. But the best thing to do is just own up to it. And in essence, I think that's what the man did. And if you remember several weeks back, maybe a month or so ago, I taught on something that I called the Band-Aid. And the acronym is the word AID. And it goes analyze, inventory, direction. And so he probably didn't know about that acronym, but that's what he did. He analyzed his situation, and he took inventory. He said, what have I got to offer here? What have I got to deal with to help rectify the situation? And made his decision, and he did it. And so basically what he did, like I said, he's still steward. He hasn't been removed yet because he's still kind of on trial. The boss said, you're going to have to account for this. So he's got some time here. So he makes the decision. He said he goes to one of the clients, you might say, somebody who had bought merchandise from this man's boss. And he said to that man, he said, how much do you owe my master or my boss? And the man said, well, 100 measures of oil. Well, the steward said, well, I'll tell you what, sit down, write out a ticket for half, and we'll let that go. And so the man took the deal. And then he goes to another, and he says the same thing. And this guy says, how much? He's a Foursquare. He said the same thing, 50, 100. And he said, well, rate Foursquare. In other words, or Fourscore, I'm sorry. In other words, he said, we're going to work this thing out, pennies on the dollar. And so he takes the deal back to the boss, and the boss was pleased with it. But here's something before this. He makes the comment in his analysis situation. He said, I can't dig, and I'm too proud to beg. But what amazed me about that was that Jesus kind of let that go. He didn't really deal with that, but that's kind of been on my mind for many, many years, having read this scripture. And I just wonder about it. Wonder why Jesus didn't take that on. Well, I'm sure he had his reasons, but I'm still curious about it. So we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the broadcast. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.